heard us talking about in the foyer there with base stroke rate, if this is your warm-up pace, so basically over the 6 lengths you've dropped 10 strokes per minute.
Okay.
This is one of the big things that we all suffer from when we start swimming. We always set off a little bit too quick.
Yeah.
And that's why using those tempo trainers for controlling that pace on stroke rate is a really good way to go forwards. So just looking at your actual stroke, first impressions for you?
I think my arms probably, I don't know, they lock out a little bit more than I thought they did.
Is that the first breath you've taken over that length?
I think it was. I think I only took the one breath.
So your breath control is really good there. There's absolutely nothing that we need to work on there at all. Okay, let's go back to some real basics then. Your leg kick action and your ankle flexibility is really good, except for, so there look, we can see your ankle flexibility, very, very nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then here, we've just allowed that foot to dorsiflex a little bit, so it's putting the brakes on a little bit.
Yeah.
That's just a little bit of self-discipline. Now I understand why that's happening, and I'm kind of nitpicking a little bit there, but we're focusing on what's going on up here, and this is very much a secondary action. But the more we can point our toes to the back, the better. Your leg kick's really good, but if we just look at this here, now I'm kind of being a little bit super critical.
Yeah.
Just a little bit low in the legs.
Yeah.
So in the water, the body acts like a seesaw. All right, and as I said before, a poor leg kick or poor ankle flexibility can pull this end down. That's not the case with you. It's what's going on up here that's causing this end to lift. All right. Now, it's not your breath control because you're trickle breathing out all the time. So if you were holding on to your breath, imagine your lungs full of air. That's going to lift this end. That's not what's happening. First of all, we'll talk about some real basics. I think your head position is way too high.
Okay.
I think you're looking far too far forwards. All right. Consequently, what will happen with that seesaw analogy is if the head is too high, the legs will drop.
Yeah.
All right. And one thing that coaches quite often address is they'll look at changing the head position, thinking it's going to help sort the leg kick out. It doesn't. Well, it's the last thing you'd look at.
Yeah.
All right. So, although I think your head position's a bit high, we're going to try some other. We're going to address some other issues first. It's basically, I knew I was going to see this. There's a real fraction of an overglide on the front of your stroke. You're not a million miles away from a smooth. You're, I mean, you could be described as a smooth overglider. Yeah. Yeah. Or an overglider who's right on the cusp of turning into becoming a full out and out smooth. So this is where the real issues are, okay? So first of all, let's just have a look at how high that hand is coming in, all right?
Yeah.
If we look at that hand entry there, the hand entry is good, but if you look at this hand now, at that position, it's pretty much staying in that position, and you're just going to carry on rotating through, and the elbow's going to drop. So it's like that's come in and locked, and then through the rotation, that's not that bad obviously,
But
you've carried on rotating through. So that hand is sat there, that's the overglide phase, and then you've just got the slightest of elbow bends, which is that typical trait of the overglider. So there's a small element of you that's being an overglider, and this is this area here that I think we can address to get your legs up higher. What I want to do is, let's just have that marked there. Now if we come down to full rotation, there, you still, even at full rotation, you still haven't actually speared the hand in far enough to where it should go. So what should be happening is the hand should spear in so that it's actually just below the level of the shoulder it's attached to. And you can see that it's just fractionally higher. And I don't think you're actually rotating enough. If you look at what's going to happen here, okay, all we're going to see is a press down. Up until about there where you've set the catch up. It's that press down here which is going to push up this end of the seesaw, it's going to drop that end.
Yeah.
It's quite subtle with you. See? That hand stays up high where it should carry on driving down. Alright, I'm going to show you a little stretch exercise in a moment that will indicate to you exactly where your hand entry should be. But as a general rule of thumb, okay, as you rotate, that arm should be extending forwards and coming down to this point just below the level of the shoulder it's attached to. But how far down it goes is determined by how flexible you are here in relationship to bending the small of the back as well. It's pretty much the same both sides, but you can see how high you come up. Look, see that hand? You've reached full extension and it's almost actually angling back up. So you're putting the brakes on as well. And all that means is that from there to there is literally that press down action. You're not really catching the water. What we should be seeing at that point, okay, is the hand very slightly lower, coming up to the shoulder, and then just a real slight kick in the wrist of that hand, and then I'm talking the actions over just half a second here really. Alright, so this should be happening, those three lines, really you should be looking to have those happen as you reach the limit of your rotation. You're at your rotation and you're still up high. So we need to get this happening quicker and lower. So what I'm showing you there is, as you rotate, we're extending forwards, and then look, 1, 2, 3. That's those three lines. 1, 2, 3. Don't do it in chunks like that. It's a smooth action. But as you rotate and extend forwards, you're literally looking at setting up into that catch, and you've got to keep that elbow high so you get that over the barrel shape. Then you've engaged the water on the palm of the hand there. Then you press back. Everything that you know really is going on with your stroke is all around this area at the moment. There you go, see, you can see it even more from this angle, that dropped elbow and the hand coming up.
See it quite clearly there.
Yep. There are a couple more issues here where we can generate a lot more power as well. You're a bit of a mix as well on your recovery. You've got a fairly good elbow recovery, but you're also a bit of a swinger. So you're a bit of a mixed bag, really. In fact, looking at that, you are swinging quite nicely as well. However, there's a few issues there.
There's a little bit of crossover.
Crossover there, even more on the other side. That could be just where you're on a breathing stroke. Yeah, it is more. And you're actually overextending on that side. See, that hand's out of the water there still, and it really should be, the hand should be entering the water somewhere around there. But I'll bet you anything you like you haven't got a scissor kick, mainly because your leg kick is so good. We'll see.
Surprised
No,
by
it's
that.
not there.
That my kick is okay.
Your kick's fine. Yeah, look, see, your kick is so strong, the crossover isn't affecting it.
Okay.
So I really don't think we need to even worry about your leg kick.
Yeah.
So that we've got slight crossover. Do you thumb entry first?
I don't really think about it, to be honest.
Okay.
So
Where we want to be going is straight in line with the shoulder, and then literally, as soon as those fingers come into contact with the water, can you see the shape of the hand there? It's angled over there.
Yeah.
That hand really wants to be angling up there. So as soon as, it doesn't matter how you recover round, as soon as those fingers come into contact with the water, they've got to start going forwards, straight up to the other end of the pool that you're swimming towards. Get down to this front bit, because this is one of the shots that really shows me a lot of stuff. So at that point there, you see, I wouldn't expect to see the palm of the hand. You're coming in angled over there. Now you've sliced over there. Now you're pressing down. You've got a really nice catch there. You're definitely pressing backwards there. You're feathering very slightly there and pressing slightly sideways, and then pressing back, but you are feathering off quite early towards the end, and you're finishing quite away from the hip. All right. In our mind's eye, all we want to be doing is spearing straight in, going straight away from the shoulder, setting that catch up in our mind's eye, and just coming straight back under the shoulder, straight back to the hip. And you want to be lifting the hip out of the way as the hand passes through, because that rotation actually generates a lot more power. What you've got to make sure is that as that's happening there, the other arm is extending forwards. So you're almost like you've got an elastic band that's being stretched away from each other. Just remind me which shoulder it is.
my right shoulder.
Apart from the crossover, I can't see any real major issues there, to be honest. I don't think you're rotating enough, you know. At that point there, see, if we get this line here and go across the surface of the water, and then I think that's about fair. That really should be up near 45 to 60 degrees.
Yeah.
Alright, so there's not enough rotation there. Bit more on that side, okay? Which means I think you're leaning on that arm more. If you look at it, that action there just looks to me like you're pressuring up on that arm, and in actual fact, it was the right arm that I said was overextending, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So maybe that's where we're looking at. You're actually overextending on that entry, and therefore you've got an extended press down. Let me just show you something. If you stand square to me, just here, and put one arm out, doesn't matter, okay, and with that straight arm, just press straight down. So give that, so put that at a 10 out of 10, all right? Okay, now if we just bring that arm up, and you're doing some of this, I'm just trying to demonstrate this for the very front of the stroke. Now press down with that same amount of pressure. It's a lot harder.
Yeah.
Now if we get rotation, so don't move your legs, but you're rotating, and you've got that same feeling there. Now the same amount of pressure again, it's even more. Okay, and what we're doing is we're getting the upper back, lats, and pecs engaged with that whole press through. I think your shoulder injury is possibly caused by that overextension.
Yeah, that would make sense anyway.
The catch and press through, you know, you're not a million miles away from where you want to get to. It's really nice and controlled, and you're virtually as smooth. It just needs a bit of tidying up here and there. So with your head position where it normally is, how much of your actual stroke are you monitoring? Are you watching?
Certainly, I'm probably only begin monitoring it once it's kind of extended out in front.
Okay, that's
I'm
fine.
not paying a huge amount of attention until that stage, and then most of the pull through I would pay attention to.
Yeah, good. A lot of people don't. And if you're already doing that, we're halfway towards helping you change what you're seeing. You're definitely coming in thumb first, so that's not going to help the shoulder. If you again stand back, okay, now bearing in mind that you have got a crossover, so arms out, thumbs down, okay, already you're rolled up there. Now if you come over that crossover, you've completely restricted the chest. If you put your hands square in front of your shoulders and flat, and you can actually expand your chest at that point, and you're not impinging that shoulder in there. So I think that's not helping either. So you need to work on that.
Yeah.
Just that little bit of crossover, thumb entry. See, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And the reason your legs are that low down, and they're not that low down, they're a bit lower than we want them to be, is because of what's going on at the front of the stroke, up here. In fact, let's just have a quick... Yeah, you're coming in almost extended on that arm and spearing in on that one quite nicely. Finishing off the stroke quite nice as far as length goes. I think you're just feathering off a little bit too soon. Okay, so really we're going to spend the time working on what's going on up there.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to stop this recording now. If you want to jump in, swim a couple of lengths. As soon as I've got this doing what I need it to do, we'll start working through the various little